It's all going to zero against Bitcoin.
It's going up forever.
You're against Bitcoin. You're against freedom.
Yeah, welcome to another episode of Simply Bitcoin Live. We're your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. Cover breaking news, culture, and manic warfare. We'll be your guide through the separation of money and state. Speaking about the separation of money and state, there are some nation states that exist, ladies and gentlemen, that they already accepted Bitcoin. They already said, Bitcoin, come here. And that is, of course, the shining country on a hill. I'm talking about the savior, El Salvador. And they have a new visa program called the Freedom Visa. Shout out to Max and Stacy. Max and Stacy, man, like holy cow, they've really pushed that hard. They've really pushed, Nayib Bukele and El Salvador to taking this like pro Bitcoin stance and just being accepting of Bitcoin in general. Fighting off the shit coins from trying to infiltrate the country. So shout out to them for doing all that, but it's incredible what's happening over there. And if you contrast that, which really what we're going to focus on, we're going to really focus on that today. The contrast between El Salvador and the United States and Europe. And you'll see the striking differences between the countries, and how they're dealing with this. And what you see in El Salvador is aligned incentives. And I think we live in a world of misaligned incentives because of fiat money. I think fiat money brings out the worst of mankind. It brings out the worst of the human species. And I think the Bitcoin brings out the best. Of course, this is in black and white. Some people lose their minds. Roger Ver, and Craig Wright, and that's my opinion, by the way. But in general, I think Bitcoin brings out the best in people. And because the reason it brings out the best in people is because it's an aligned incentive structure. So and I'll talk about me and Opti, and I'll talk about Simply Bitcoin. We show up every single day and, or 5 days a week. And we tell you about Bitcoin and, how it's hopeful and, how, it could help you, economically to save for a better future, how you could change your operating system from this nihilistic, dark poverty, slavery type of mindset, which is the fiat mindset, to this optimistic mindset, this mindset of opportunity and prosperity and and all this goodness, right? And at the end of the day, like, we wear this on our chest, and somehow this is it's very strange because this is kind of attacked in the Bitcoin community. I don't apologize for this whatsoever. I'm a capitalist. I like making money. And at the end of the day, this show is sponsorship based. Hopefully we'll get to becoming subscriber based in the future, but we provide a ton of value in the process. Now, here's the thing, because the incentive structures are aligned, just because we're talking to you about Bitcoin and in a way that helps us because we're holding Bitcoin and doesn't hurt the other side, right? Because if you're purchasing Bitcoin or if you're hearing the Bitcoin message and you're like, yeah, that's a good message, I kind of like that. Like, I'm going to buy some Bitcoin. I'm going to hold some Bitcoin. That's going to help you, right? And this applies to like all fronts, right? So if you're a miner, you're not mining Bitcoin out of the goodness of your heart. You're mining Bitcoin out of the pursuit of profit. But in the process, you're making the Bitcoin network stronger. If you're running a node, I recommend the Start 9, by the way. This one I have. And there's a discount code. You can use it. It's in the video description. You're running that node because you don't want to trust someone else's node. You're like, no, I don't want to trust someone else's copy of the blockchain. I want to trust my copy of the blockchain. But in the process, if you run a node, you're decentralizing the network, right? So, and if you're a Bitcoin holder, you're another person who's opted out of the system, out of their system. And in the process, you're making everyone just a little bit wealthier, right? So like you're seeing an aligned incentive structure, and then what you see in fiat is a misaligned incentive structure. So like in fiat, there's a bureaucratic elite, or there's an elite, better said, that benefit from the printing of fake money or counterfeiting money of this paper money, but not everyone else has that privilege, right? And then it creates this like dilemma where every time they print money, essentially it's a wealth redistribution mechanism from the lower and middle classes, because they don't have the means to save in assets, to the very wealthy and back to the government. So if you're a government politician, and you know, what are you incentivized to do? You're not incentivized to do good by your constituents. You're just incentivized to get as close as humanly possible to the money spigot. That's your incentive. That's what you need to do. Like, that's what you want to do. And then that creates a society where the politicians are almost like this ruling class. They're not representing their people. They're ruling over their people because they don't need to represent their people, because that's not where the money's coming from, right? And I think really what you see in El Salvador is, I think you're seeing an example, really for the first time, of a society with an aligned incentive structure. I don't think that it's a coincidence that the first country that made Bitcoin legal tender also has the most popular president in the Americas who's actually doing the things that he said he was going to do if he was elected. Like, what is the role of government? The role of government is to protect your property, to provide safety. It's gone above and beyond that. It's like Frankenstein into something. So when I see El Salvador, especially as a Latin America, I mean, Simply Bitcoin is, you know, and our boy Rustin, of course, but the host of Simply Bitcoin Live, me and Opti, we're both Hispanics, right? And, you know, like for me, it's absolutely inspiring what is happening in this Central American country that, you know, a decade ago you would have been like, that's a lost cause. And now it's bringing hope to the region. And I think eventually it's going to become a model for the region, to be honest. And that's why you have, of course, the legacy media, you know, freaking out the way they're freaking out. Anyways, I'm gonna end it with this. Remember, they're freaking out because, and Nayib Bukele's quote from Don't Drink the Elite's Kool-Aid, their most important weapon is their control on the truth. Well, here's the thing, guys. If Bitcoin works on a public company level, and it has, right? Michael Saylor's vindicated, and Bitcoin works on a nation state level, and it has. Nayib Bukele is in the green ever since Bitcoin broke 40,000. There's no amount of media spin that they could throw at us to convince us, or to convince the world, that Nayib Bukele didn't make the correct decision. That's why they're freaking out, because they didn't want to get it. They didn't want it to get to that point where they couldn't spin it. Now it's got to the point where they cannot spin it. So they have to face the reality, and they just have to argue. They have to like confront the truth, which I don't think a lot of these guys have been put in a position to do that. But anyways, so we're going to go through all the receipts. We're going to do all the comparisons. It's going to be a great show. We also have, you know, the Wall Street is starting to fund commercials for the spot Bitcoin ETF. So we'll play you guys that. It's going to be a great show. I'm feeling festive. Jacob, my Christmas hat comes in tomorrow. I'm going to be wearing a Christmas hat for the rest of the week. And also, guys, announcement, we're going to be telling you guys the rest of the week, just in case you guys don't know what's going on next week. We are going to be taking the holidays off. We have not taken time off for 3 years in this channel's existence. I work 2 jobs, for anyone that doesn't know. I work over at Swan, Director of Content Strategy. I work at Simply. And yeah, you overworked / burned out very, very soon. is definitely getting there. So I'm gonna take some well-needed rest. And so is Opti and so is Rustin. But we'll be dropping some things here and there. But we'll be back stronger than ever Monday. And Simply Bitcoin I'm so excited for 2024. It's going to be amazing. Anyways, enough of my rambling. I'm excited. I was sick as a dog on Friday. I was hallucinating with the fever that I had. It was pretty crazy. But I'm glad to be back in the saddle. Opti, how you doing, my friend?
Well, I am doing well as well. My health was not the best last week. I struggled at the beginning of the week. Somehow we made it through the week. And Nico called me, Friday morning? Is like, yo, I am dying. Can you fill in today? Like, whatever we got to do, bro. Whatever we got to do. But dude, on another note.
I did Simply Sessions with Ben on Thursday. And I was if you see my face, I was not okay. I was not okay. And then Ben's like, Nico, what are you doing here? And I'm like, I don't know.
You asked me to be here, bro.
I'm like, I don't know. No. What did I say? What did I say? I was like, we have to defeat the monetary demons. That's what I said. Anyways, what are we going to talk about during the culture?
Wait, before we get to the culture, I did not have the most interesting man in the world talking about Bitcoin on my bingo card for 2023. So here we are, guys. I know the chat's savage and they're like, who cares about institutions coming into Bitcoin? But we've been telling you this was going to happen for a while. The biggest institution asset managers in the world are now going to do what we try to do every single day, except for, paint millions of dollars behind their marketing strategies to educate their customers. And look, off rip, we got the most interesting man in the world doing a commercial for Bitcoin. You just bro, I really think you guys are all being very, very bearish out there and don't understand how big this next bull run is going to actually be. Of course, we have all these receipts now. Moving forward, we will have more time. That's the only thing going on here, guys. We know we're winning. It's only a matter of time that will make the normie understand that, oh my God, okay, they are actually right. Anyways, we'll talk about that during the show. I don't know if you guys were watching the mempools over the weekend, but it got absolutely crazy. And so I am once again here to tell you to consolidate your UTXOs, do a little high level explanation of what's going on for the new people in the back that don't understand that, hey, if you are stacking into a wallet with a bunch of UTXOs, tiny UTXOs, you might be wrecking yourself. So we want to make sure you guys are aware of what's going on, because I had a conversation with my family, my younger brothers, and I think I might have orange pilled them. But as I was talking to them, Nico, I had the same, light bulb go off in my head. It's like, oh man, it's going to be extremely hard to explain to them all the intricacies of Bitcoin. So here we are. Let's try to do this live for them, and hopefully just we'll circle around every once in a while. Make sure you guys have the best wallets, understand what's going on with UTXOs, understand what's going on the network, instead of just having interviews and getting stupidly bullish on the show. I'm going to make sure you guys have some at least some tools under your tool belt. So hopefully I do justice today.
Okay. Yeah, no, and it's very fitting to talk about this topic because
the fees this weekend were crazy, bro.
No, the fees are just absolutely nuts. I'm a bit of a savage here. If it means paying $1,000 per transaction, but keeping Bitcoin truly
I'm a monetary
decentralized,
maximalist as well, but
I
don't think everyone out there has the funds to do this. So let's protect them.
I'm all for it. No, neither do I, dude. I don't own any Bitcoin.
Me neither.
But anyways, happy holidays. It's gonna be great. 5 more Simply Bitcoin episodes for the rest of the year, man. Let's get one of those. Strong. Yeah, let's end the year strong. Let's do it. All right, everybody, let's start the show.
The Bitcoin numbers.
Is your Bitcoin in cold storage really secure? Is your seed phrase really secure? Stampseed's do-it-yourself kit has everything you need to hammer your seed words into commercial-grade titanium plates instead of just writing them on paper. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Paper is prone to water damage, fire damage. You want to put your generational wealth on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Your words are actually stamped into this metal plate with this hammer and these letter stamps. And once your words are in, they aren't going anywhere. No risk of the plate breaking apart and pieces falling everywhere. Titanium stamped seeds will survive nearly triple the heat produced by a house fire. They're also crush-proof, waterproof, non-corrosive, and time-proof. All things that paper is not, allowing you to hodl your Bitcoin with peace of mind for the long haul. Stamp your seed on Stamp Seed. All right, everybody. You
got an aneurysm.
No, dude, it's like don't update your MacBook apparently because it just messes everything up. Anyways, it wasn't as bad as that first time. Scan the QR code on your screen. It will take you directly to the Stamp Seed website. Don't store your generational wealth on paper. Store on one of the strongest metals on planet Earth, titanium. Got to do that. Stamp Seed. Use promo code SIMPLY to get 15% off anything on the Stamp Seed website. At the time of recording, the Bitcoin price is $41,545. Sats per dollar, 2,407. Block height, 821,806. Blocks to halving, 18,194. Halving estimate, April 19th, 2024. Total Lightning Network capacity, 5,014 Bitcoin. Capacity value, 208 million US dollars. Realized monetary inflation, 1.75%. The market capitalization of Bitcoin, 813 billion. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 6%. All right, ladies and gentlemen, moving on. Here's a legendary Mandrick. Literally sold baklava for Bitcoin in 2011. Absolute legend. If you know, you know. He's a great dude. And he gives away baklavas. Apparently he's not going to be doing that anymore. But he used to give away baklavas at Bitcoin conferences, and he'd walk around, and every year the recipe would just get better, and he just added chocolates and stuff. It was delicious. So delicious. Anyways, he has this epic wall. I'm building up my epic wall behind my green screen of Bitcoin art and like Bitcoin memorables and all that stuff. But there's this there's this very famous saying that we all say that I know that you guys are familiar with, which is hodl or hodling. Where does that come from? Well, 10 years ago today, December 18, 2023, December 18, 2013, a member of what was the name of this forum? Opti, it's super famous. This is where Satoshi. Bitcoin Talk, yeah. So his name was DTC XMNMC. Says, I typed D that typed twice because I knew it was wrong the first time. Still wrong, whatever. Girlfriend's out at a lesbian bar. Bitcoin crashing. Why am I holding? I'll tell you why. It's because I'm a bad trader. And I know I'm a bad trader. And yeah, you good traders can spot the highs and low, pit, patty, piff, wong, wing, wong, wang, just like that, and make $1 million bucks. Sure, no problem. Likewise, the weak hands are like, oh no, it's going down. I'm going to sell. Hey, hey, hey. And then I'm like, oh God, my asshole. Then the smart traders who know what the F they're doing buy back. But you know what? I'm not part of that group. When the traders buy back, I'm already part of the market capital. So guess who you're cheating, day traders? Not me. These taunt threads saying, oh, you should have sold. Yeah, no shit. No shit I should have sold. I should have sold moments before every sell and bought moments before every buy. But you know what? Not everybody is as cool as you. You only sell in a bear market if you're a good day trader or an illusion noob. The people in between hold. In a zero-sum game such as this, traders can only take your money if you sell. So I've had some whiskey. Actually on the bottle it's spelled whiskey, whatever, sue me, but only if it's payable in Bitcoin. And the subject of this post, and he posted, is called I am hodling. Now, apparently, this was misspelled, and then it became a meme, and then it lived on in Bitcoin's history. So it's a very historic moment in Bitcoin's culture and Bitcoin's history, and it has stuck around. And HODL is an epic meme. Anyways, Opti, what's your take on this, brother?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I absolutely love this post. It's like the funniest post ever. What's that one, like Piff Pap Waddy Wop or whatever? Like that cracks me up every single time, and it just sums up all of us on Twitter. And shouts out to Toxic Sophie in the chat. He's like, "Yo, this sounds like Opti tweeting." Yeah, we are all high level regards out here. We're not. All we know is Bitcoin. Everything else is not our forte. That's obviously a joke. But yeah, man, like it's amazing that this is a decade old and the HODL is a decade old and it's still as true today as ever. Anytime I have a conversation with someone, I do my best to not just talk about Bitcoin in memes and in words that only we understand, because I don't know if you've ever talked to someone outside of the Bitcoin space, but when you start using like the nomenclature and the slang that we're used to, they're like, like, what do you say? Are you even speaking English right now? And then you got to explain all the back end. So I was literally having this conversation with my family over the weekend. And I was just trying to explain hodling to them, as we always do, that it's just simply saving. But it's so much easier once they understand the wording. That's just hodl, bro. Just hold the Bitcoin, keep on going. But it really blows my mind that this is 10 years old and that's today. And it's just a piece of history here. But on another note, and every time this post comes up, I feel like it's my duty to always say that we've had some updates about this guy since. I am pretty sure he turned into, I don't remember if it's a Bcasher or BSV or something, but basically he's a shitcoiner now. So, rip to him. Hopefully he did hodl those coins and he didn't get absolutely devastated in the shitcoin markets. But hey, the wisdom still remains, guys. Don't trade your Bitcoin. Don't try to time the market. Time in the market beats timing the market. All you really need to do, guys, is save in Bitcoin, hold it for long term, and go and live your life. Become a productive member of society, build your skills, save in Bitcoin, and keep doing this. Yes, we say hodling, but it's very simple financial advice. All you're doing is saving in the hardest asset and the best money in the digital world. And of course, that is Bitcoin. Some call it hodling, some call it saving. It's all the same thing, guys. All you need to do is hold on to this Bitcoin because they aren't going to make more of it. So happy decade to the hodling meme. And it's just amazing that we got that from a drunk guy, a drunk guy in a forum, and it just goes on forever. It's so awesome. What a trip.
Yeah, dude. What a trip. What a legend. Speaking of an absolute trip, check this out. This is also Steven Lupka, man. I don't call Steven Lupka, first of all, I love Steven Lupka, number one. And I have been calling Steven Lupka Apollo because I feel like that's a more fitting name. Apollo's the god of the sun, Steven.
Dude, don't deify him.
just soaks in the sun all the time. So the Bitcoin Apollo. Anyways, so Bitcoin Apollo, aka Steven Lupka. I can't believe Wall Street is about to spend $100 million marketing Bitcoin for their ETFs. And of course, Steven hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what they did. Here's the Chad Sailor. And
wait, when did he post that? Go back to it. When was that tweet? Of course,
December 1st, 2023.
Of course, always prophetic.
Yeah, prophetic AF. And then here is Michael Saylor. Let's check it out.
You know what's interesting these days? Bitcoin. Look for Bitwise, my friends.
Bitwise, ETFs backed by crypto specialists. What do I mean by Bitcoin specialists? Because it's ETF. It's a Bitcoin ETF. It's not an whatever ETF, but whatever. People don't know.
Well, again, remember, Nico, I think the Larry Fink wisdom here might be in play where they can't necessarily say Bitcoin. They can only say crypto. He said that a while ago. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that front. And then also most people think of, when they think of crypto, they think of Bitcoin. So of course it is Bitcoin only, but I think we understand in hindsight what they're doing. Maybe we don't want to give them too much leeway, but I think that's what's going on here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but look, still, like, look, guys, do you understand the effing tsunami that is on the way? Do you know how, like it's a 15-second commercial, but you know how much that costs? Like and like, okay, you know, we have some type of background in production, okay? But for a professional setup like that, perfect lighting, perfect hair and makeup, you know, actors, right? Like, you know, just kind of like going around, but those are professional actors, like doing their part to create that atmosphere, to create that scene. That ain't cheap, bro. That's not cheap. Like, even though it's a 15-second, that ain't cheap. And I'm telling you, like, it's not that it's hard to do, it's professionals need to do that. Like, professionals have to do that, right? So, yeah, I'm just so excited because, you know, last cycle, it was just these shitcoinery, you know, and they weren't even promoting like Bitcoin or Bitcoin ETFs. Like, they were promoting the shitcoin casinos. So I'm so excited about this, to be honest. But we have to remain wary as Bitcoiners because this could be positive for the price action. But remember, this is the separation of money and state, and an ETF does not separate money from state. An ETF is captured Bitcoin, right? Of course, I think that inevitably it will lead to more people taking self-custody as people realize, wait a second, I'm paying fees on this Bitcoin. Like, what is going on here? But whatever, you know, baby steps. Anyways, I do want to give a very special shout out to our sponsor. And of course, I'm talking about Bitcoin 2024. Now, Bitcoin, I'm going to make it holidays because it is the holidays. Now, Bitcoin 2024 is going to be the largest. No, it's just cursive. It doesn't have the little snowman. Wow, I thought it was going to have the snowman. Anyways, back to the usual one. Yeah, it looks much better. So Bitcoin 2024 is going to be the largest Bitcoin conference of the year. It's going to be in Nashville, Tennessee. It's not going to be in Miami this year. You definitely don't want to miss it. It's July 25th through the 27th, 2024. It's going to be awesome. You can use promo code SIMPLY to get 10% off your tickets. You do want to get your tickets quickly and soon because the prices will go up soon. For a festival ticket, you can get it for $349. For an industry pass, you can get it for $1,099. For a VIP pass, you can get it for $4,999. The VIP pass gives you exclusive access to the deep backstage VIP lounge, premium seating and VIP viewing area, an all-inclusive premium food and open bar and coffee bar. The industry pass, which is the one that I recommend for anyone trying to get a job in the industry, that gives you admission to 3 days of the conference, including Industry Day. You definitely don't want to miss the biggest Bitcoin conference of the year in Nashville, Tennessee, July 25th through the 27th, 2024. If the World Economic Forum is a quintillion conference, the Bitcoin conference is the Freedom Conference. So if you stand for freedom, I definitely recommend going to the Bitcoin conference in Nashville, Tennessee. Promo code SIMPLY to get 10% off your tickets. Anyways, everybody, let's hit the news. We got a lot to talk about today. Let's check it out.
Daily news.
I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Foundation Devices. It's self-custody done right. They built a premium grade hardware wallet called Passport right here in the US. It's fully open source and verifiable. It's the most intuitive Bitcoin wallet designed with a UX reminiscent of a simple feature phone. So you will know how to navigate it and use it the moment you pick it up. Get your Bitcoin off exchanges and into your own hands in just a few minutes. Experience the peace of mind that comes with taking ownership of your own keys. After a massive sellout during Bitcoin Miami 2023, the Passport is back in stock at foundationdevices.com. Bitcoin only, open source verifiable, completely air gap security model, gorgeous design craft, premium grade materials. If you're thinking about getting your Bitcoin off exchanges, this is the one for you. Check out the Passport link in the show notes below to learn more. All right, everybody. Guys, remember, not your keys, not your Bitcoin. Get yourself a hardware wallet. Not your cheese, not your Bitcoin. The foundation device is completely open source. It's easy to use. It feels familiar. It's comfortable. Has an awesome copper plated background. It's completely air gapped. The USB is only power. It's no data. Highly recommend this. Also has a camera. You could scan QR codes with the camera on the back to sign transactions. Highly recommend it. It's the one I use for my multi-sig setup. Get yourself a Passport by Foundation Devices today. All right, everybody, let's get to the news. And I want to start it off with this because like what WTF, man. But it's great because it's going to allow us to compare and contrast between the two, right? So let's start off with the ECB. The ECB stands for the European Central Bank, of which Opti's ex-girlfriend, Christine Lagarde, is the head of. She's a convicted felon, I might add. That's not just me saying that. She's actually a convicted felon. And it says this meme, this post, which only has 36 likes, and they have basically three quarters of a million followers, and only 36 likes and 45 comments. Seems like they got ratioed once again. I don't know who this is for. Anyways, the rise in climate-related disasters makes it harder to forecast inflation accurately. This means we face more challenges when deciding on monetary policy. Like, let me just simplify it. They're blaming inflation on the weather. That's what they're doing. That's where we are. And this isn't the first time they've done this, by the way. So let me reframe that. They're blaming inflation on the weather again, which is just like, it's so ridiculous. They blame everything and anything but themselves, but they are the sole cause of this. They're the sole cause. Nothing else. They are. Central banks are the only institution that could legally counterfeit. This is kind of contradictory. Legally counterfeit without going to jail, right? Or better said, they're only institution that can counterfeit without getting locked in a box. So when you create more money, you debase the money supply and you make all the other, you make the units cheaper, right? But they can't say that. So they blame everyone else. One of the other excuses that I loved that they came up with was when they blamed the workers. They're like, people are asking for higher wages. Bad inflation bad. So yes, so this is what's happening in Europe. This is what's happening in the US. We all know Elizabeth Warren. She really doesn't like you holding 12 to 24 words. And we dedicated an entire episode last week to talking about, her latest move, which is the Digital Asset Anti-Money Laundering Act that she just got 5 new senators. They have 20 senators that are signed up for this, by the way, in the US Senate. They have 2 Republicans and they have 20 Democrats. Then I said, make no mistake, the bill that Senator Warren has introduced in the Senate continues to gather momentum and would be a de facto ban on self-custody and peer-to-peer transactions in the United States. So, they addressed unhosted wallets, digital wallets. You guys know this. We covered this on a couple episodes last week. So, kind of recap. European Central Bank is blaming the clouds on inflation. Elizabeth Warren doesn't want you to hold 12 words. I'm pretty sure she dated Opti too. And let's compare this with El Salvador, right? El Salvador, the land of freedom, opportunity, hope, truth. That last one I liked. the land of truth. Because I don't think you'll find truth coming from a central bank or a government as long as they have the power to create money for free that everyone else has to work for. So the IMF urges El Salvador to address Bitcoin's risks, right? This came out February 11th, 2023. Mind you, this is the same IMF that gave Argentina a bailout, but part of that bailout came with the condition that the Argentine government had to de-incentivize the population of Argentina from adopting Bitcoin. So let's see how the IMF's prediction came. Let's see how it worked out. Fast forward, December 4th, 2023. El Salvador's Bitcoin investments turned profitable. Bukele's Central American nation made Bitcoin legal tender. Bukele is running for re-election in February. El Salvador's Bitcoin investments turned profitable after the recent rally in their cryptocurrency, according to Nayib Bukele. Bukele, who stepped down as president last week to focus on the campaign, said on X the country's Bitcoin investment are up 2.81%, netting the country $3.6 million in profit. He said the government has no intention of selling its Bitcoin and will hold its position as part of its long-term strategy. By the way, Walker of America pointed this out. When Nayib Bukele said that El Salvador was going to buy Bitcoin a week, it was right here. It was the bottom of the bear market. So take that, IMF. I mean, while you guys continue to lie, blaming the weather gods for inflation, while Elizabeth Warren also continues to misrepresent facts about how much terrorist funding is coming from Bitcoin, right? The land of freedom and opportunity continues to win. And I think because it continues to win, it's going to attract other freedom-loving individuals and truth-seeking individuals. So this is why they offered the Freedom Visa. This is an initiative that was pushed by the National Bitcoin Office, of which Max and Stacy are part of. And according to this article, or according to this, it says El Salvador expects to sell out Bitcoin Freedom Visa by end of year. It goes on to say, El Salvador's National Bitcoin Office says its $1 million Freedom Visa program has already received hundreds of inquiries since its launch on December 7th and expects it to sell out before the end of 2023. In comments emailed to Cointelegraph, a spokesman for El Salvador's National Bitcoin Office said it had hundreds of inquiries and, quote, many dozens of applications online and in person at its assemblies and consulates. Based on the current level of interest, we expect the program to sell out by the end of year. Launched by the El Salvador government on December 7th in partnership with stablecoin issuer Tether, the Freedom Visa is a citizenship by donation program that grants a residency visa pathway to citizenship for 1,000 people willing to put down a 1 million Bitcoin or Tether donation toward the country. The ONBTC spokesman clarified that the program is limited to 1,000 slots per calendar year. Market commentators such as Altana Digital Currency Chief Investment Officer Alistar Milin described El Salvador's $1 million visa program as uncompetitive. I mean, you could say that because let's say St. Lucia, like Malta, and a couple of other places do offer, citizenship for cheaper. But I like the response. And the response was essentially the National Bitcoin Office says that $1 million price tag for the Freedom Visa was more than fair. If anything, in fact, it is actually underpriced. While there are many citizenship programs available in the world, there is only one Bitcoin country. That's true, right? It's the only country that's made Bitcoin legal tender. Despite the high price tag relative to other visa programs, the numerous pro-Bitcoin policies and incentives established by President Nayib Bukele over the past few years could entice Bitcoiners looking for a sea change. In September 2021, Bukele recognized Bitcoin as legal tender, removed all capital gains taxes for Bitcoin investors. He later scrapped all forms of taxation for tech and crypto firms that choose to set up operations in the country. So, I mean, there's only 1,000 of these. So if you have $1 million to spare, or sorry, better said, only it's limited to 1,000 slots per year. So, you know, if you do have $1 million to spare and you want to move to El Salvador, you better said, you want to become a citizen of Freedom Country, there, you got your opportunity. Get yourself a El Salvador's Freedom Visa. And also, just to kind of do some math real quick, right? This is a huge economic win for the country, because if you multiply 1,000 times 1 million, that is $1 billion in potential revenue for Freedom Country, which is awesome. Mind you, you don't have to pay for that in Bitcoin. You could also pay for it in USDT, and I think Tether has been helping over there. So anyways, very exciting stuff. You know, it continues to, alternative places to live continue to pop up. And I think, this reminds me, this is exactly what was happening with, this is exactly what was happening in the book, The Sovereign Individual. This is what they were talking about. They were talking about this. Like, this is exactly what they were talking about. They were talking about essentially jurisdictions competing for your business. And this is an example of that. There will be more examples of that. And when these jurisdictions start to compete for your business, all of a sudden, and I've had friends, by the way, that have given up their, I mean, I'm not going to name any names, that have really good friends that have given up their American citizenship. And I said, dude, like, weren't you scared? Like, I had this conversation in Vegas actually not too long ago. And I said, I'm like, dude, like, weren't you scared? Like, weren't you worried? Like, you would wake up and like Hillary Clinton would be like right next to you and be like, hey, but like, he's like, no, that didn't happen. And I was like, are they not going to let you back in the US or something? He's like, no, bro. Like, I gave up my citizenship. It was like super chill. And then I applied for a visa to get back in, and it was easy. Right. I'm not saying you should do that, but I'm also not saying you shouldn't do that, or you should do that. But the picture that I'm trying to paint is, this is a brave new world, right? And because of the internet, because of Bitcoin, you can work remotely anywhere around the world, and you can take your wealth with you easily. So that kind of changes the equation in your head, where you're just like, look, like, I love where I live, but if it becomes hostile towards businesses, or the taxes go astronomically high, like, maybe I want to move to some place where it's friendlier for me, it's friendlier for my business, friendlier for my family, it's safer for my family. Like, why am I paying so many taxes if the government doesn't even want to take care of, basic safety? And I'm not talking about, all states in the US, but there's some states that, have people literally barging into CVS's, looting the entire store. And those states happen also to have some of the highest state income taxes as well, right? Like, that's, if the government fails at the one thing the government is supposed to do, like, maybe it's time to move. Maybe it's just, maybe it's time to take a look at El Salvador. Anyways, Opti, what are your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, so when this news came across, my mind share, it did seem like pretty high, considering what's going on in other countries and how much passports cost and how much citizenry is. But I don't even think we've gotten a full list of what the perks would be if you do buy your citizenship through this El Salvador program. And I'm sure there's got to be something on this list to like make it more worthwhile than just like, yo, this is the country of freedom. To me, for that price, there's got to be like red carpet services for you guys as Bitcoin citizens. But it does play into what we've been saying for a long time on the show, that this is the sovereign individual thesis playing out in real time, and you just absolutely love to see it. At first, it was just a thesis. It was just a theory. We had an inkling of like, this is how it's going to work out, and now we know for a fact that other countries are going to do their best to try to persuade and incentivize Bitcoiners to come to the country. And of course, El Salvador is the first country to do this. So you just love to see it. I'm sure they will get more competitive moving forward. And this is just the beginning of it. And again, like, this is so early in the experiment. How long has El Salvador been on the Bitcoin standards? Like 2 years. It hasn't even been a whole cycle yet. When El Salvador gets to a whole cycle, it's going to be extremely clear to everyone watching without having their negative bet on this, that this is the right move. And if you want to continue to have a country that is progressing forward in the truest sense of the word, then you are going to want to have entrepreneurs coming to your country. And what are Bitcoiners but I would say the best entrepreneurs in the world? We have to be profitable, or else we're going to get wrecked on the Bitcoin standard. We don't have the luxury of a money printer. So I just think this is the foundation for a future on a Bitcoin standard, and you just love to see it. It just goes to show that what we're doing is right, and that to me, I think the signal here is the fact that this program, maybe this is just marketing, and we're marketers, we understand how this works as well. The fact that this is almost completely sold out, at least via their own words, I think is probably the most telling. It just goes to show that people are feeling the pain, and they're like, yo, why am I living in a country that doesn't want me here? Like, I'm gonna up and move. And Nico, you even like tweeted something, and like again, my Latino in me kind of hurt. You're like, wow, if Elizabeth Warren's bill passes, me and the whole Simply Bitcoin team are gonna move. And I wanted to do
okay, look, I'm making it clear. I'm gonna be full screen and like make it clear. If that bill passes, I'm moving to El Salvador. I'm bringing Opti with me. We'll bring Rustin with me. We'll bring as many of our crew as possible, and set up a Simply studio there and whatnot. Because I'm not gonna live in a country that is gonna lock me in a box for writing down 12 words. I'm not gonna do that. I just made the official announcement. All right.
Opti inserts LeBron James looking at me and like, what the yeah. I don't know if I'm fully on that bandwagon yet, but I know where the sentiment is going.
Opti, you don't have a choice here,
dog.
bro.
I'm sorry, dude. There's something about me that I'm just like, yo, so much have sacrificed to be in America. I'm not going to let them take America yet. I'm sorry.
If that bill passes, they've taken America.
I know.
Already,
it's not going to pass. Okay. I'm putting a line in the sand here. It's not going to pass. But I think it just goes to show, guys.
You should have treated her better, bro.
I think this just goes to show one thing. The politicians and the central bankers, they are we can't say anymore that they are naive and they don't understand what's going on. I think they know for a fact what's happening, but it's very interesting to see the reaction from Wall Street. And it's, again, the Bitcoin's incentives are pure. And hey, the best money in the world, the truest incentives will win out in the end. And it's upon us. It's a time thing. It's upon us to make sure that more people know what's actually going on, because if it's up to these politicians, they will gaslight their way into total dystopia. And this is not the world I want to live in. So this is, oh man, the chat's crazy. Anyways, Nico, you put the final thoughts of this. I was going to pull it up, but I can't.
All right. Before we move on to the culture, I do want to give a very special shout out to our sponsor, Cabin. My voice just broke. My Cabin. I can't say it. Sorry, guys. I'm still Kaboom Racks. Okay. The most trusted place to buy, sell, and host mining equipment. You got to check out their racks. You can do that by scanning the QR code on your screen or check the link in the video description. You could buy mining equipment with them. Check out their massive inventory and you can connect with a member of their sales team. They make purchasing their products easy and transparent. You could also sell your mining equipment with them, access their vast network of domestic and international customers. When you sell your mining equipment with them, they'll make it incredibly easy. Guys, check out Kaboom Racks, the most trusted place to buy and sell host mining equipment. Check out their racks today. Wow, it is really cracked. Kaboom Racks. Oh man, I don't have it anymore.
Just keep going.
I don't have it anymore. All right, everybody. Let's hit the culture. Let's hit the culture.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today.
All right, guys. So as I was telling you, and I got a whole bunch of stuff here, but let me go full screen. I think I need to give a PSA and context for this. So I have friends on both sides of the aisle right now. I have, like myself, monetary maxis where I think Bitcoin should be purely for transactions. I have friends on the ordinal side that think it's really cool to be able to inscribe data into the Bitcoin blockchain. I'm not here to pick sides here. I know what I'm doing. I think Bitcoin should be for pure monetary reasons. But I think what I saw over the weekend, and I got a bunch of tweets, and I'll give you guys some solutions, or rather, some advice here. The fees are getting absolutely crazy, guys. The mempools are getting slammed right now. There's a lot of interest in this, ordinals, inscriptions, BRC20, NFTs on Bitcoin, putting, dick butts on the blockchain or whatever the hell you call them nowadays, whatever the cool kids are doing, they were having fun on the network. We're seeing this happen, but a video came across my Twitter over the weekend that I find very interesting. And maybe it's giving credence to the idea that there is an active attack going on Bitcoin in 2017. We saw the big blockers. If you haven't read The Block Size War, guys, I highly recommend you read it right now so you can be aware of what's going on. But it seems that the mempools are getting crazy, guys. I just checked this morning and the fees are going up again. There's like 30 Bitcoin in pending fees right now. Like, it's getting absolutely crazy. And I've been telling you guys for a while, again, I'm like the Bernie Sanders meme here. Like, I am once again here telling you to consolidate your UTXOs when the mempools clear up, because I do feel
the accent is super off.
I know, it's all right.
Do it. Try it.
I don't even know the accent. I can't do it. I don't have a
I am
Rhode
once
Island.
again asking you
Okay, all right.
a small donation.
Wait, you gotta no. All right, let's get into this. All right, so guys, it's been getting crazy, but this video resurfaced, and it just goes to show that I think there is an active attack right now on the Bitcoin network. And don't take my words for it, but we're seeing the mempools get absolutely slammed right now. So let's pull this up and let me show you this video that I find very interesting. Just, I'm not here to speculate on it. Just know what's going on, and you'll see why we're in a position that we're in right now.
Opti, I can't hear anything. It's silent.
Hold on. Let me redo this again then.
All right. In the meantime, there we go.
Filling up the BTC blockchain. What's happening with ordinals is that the big blockers of Bitcoin, like myself, we are simply waging a war with art. And we are filling up the BTC blockchain with pictures right now. One picture of 4 megabytes fills up the entire BTC blockchain. And as we are talking right now, they will be doing now minting series of 100, 200, where every 100 blocks are going to be completely full. And guys, we're just doing art and having fun. We're following the rules of the game. And guess what we just did? We completely
DDoS. It sounds like a DDoS.
No, we're just doing art.
Just standard mental gymnastics. Anyways, what's this mean for you guys out there? It means that fees are getting slammed right now, and if you haven't,
so hold on, like, because he's like, we're just doing art. Like, these must be some rich ass fucking artists, bro.
That's where we're gonna go. That's where we'll end this with on this is, they'll run out of money at a certain point. And again, the reason I started this was like, I have friends on both sides of this argument. It's because, like, I really do think some Bitcoiners just agree with the idea, like, this is a pretty cool technology. And then there's sleeper agents out there, like this clip. This was in February, guys. So it's been all year. They're attacking the blockchain with art. They're following the rules. Anyways, let's look at this. You can see the mempool stats for bytes, and this is as historical as mempool.space has been around, but you can see the fees are getting pretty high, almost as high as what was going on in 2018. And they're actually higher right now. So we saw that over the weekend. We saw some incredibly high fees. So again, like Nico said, I don't know where these artists are getting these fees for these pictures that get inscribed in the blockchain, but it seems to be like there's some deep pockets that is pushing this stuff, and we don't know how long this is going to go on for. Hopefully, we get back to what I would say, natural levels of people wanting to use the blockchain. This to me seems a little superficial. It seems rather artificial. And so, anyways, why did I want to bring all this up is because I realized when I was having a conversation with my family over the weekend that most people don't really understand the technicalities of how the Bitcoin blockchain works. And we've been telling you guys constantly, don't leave your Bitcoin on an exchange. And maybe we haven't been as clear as we should have throughout the year. And I always try to clarify our messaging here. I always told you, get a good threshold coming off an exchange. Don't just be withdrawing, $5, $10, $15, $20, $40, $50 because you might find yourself in a position where you can't spend those Bitcoins. And here, Beautyon lays this out perfectly. And I'm not going to get into Beautyon's whole argument. But you can see over the weekend, on-chain fees got up to like $40. It was incredible. And, the wizards out there are applauding. We're making Bitcoin fun. We're breaking Bitcoin. And all those Bitcoiners that just want to transact on the network. And further, people that don't have as much money as some of the first world Bitcoiners that have this first world privilege here are getting absolutely slammed. And here Beautyon goes, on-chain fees. And this was over the weekend. When you post this? This was Friday, I believe. On-chain fees are $41.72. That means anyone with less than that amount cannot send on-chain from their wallet. Assuming that people want to actually use Bitcoin, anyone who has, say, $30 on-chain in their wallet is now locked out of their Bitcoin. It would be an interesting experiment to see how this is explained to someone who is new to Bitcoin and doesn't have enough to spend it all of a sudden. All the narratives of saving for the future will not make sense to them, and neither will any ornate philosophical interviews about the protocol suffice. Angry users will want their money back out of the wallet. And as fees continue to rise either quickly or at the expected pace, this is going to become more and more common for anyone trapped on chain. And this is the point of this conversation today, guys. Like, yes, this is how Bitcoin works. Yes, once we get enough demand on Bitcoin, fees will go up. But is this artificial? Or is this just a natural phenomenon of people actively wanting to use Bitcoin? I would kind of say this, ordinal stuff is artificial. But I don't think it's going to stop right away. I don't think we can completely stop this. I know, Luke Dasher and the Oceans team's been doing their best job. There's been so much commotion around this. Anyways, I just wanted to give you guys, just the basic tool belt, what is going on so that you understand what is happening, because I realized talking to my little brother, like, how am I going to explain to him, dust levels and transaction fees and all this stuff when I'm just kind of like, saving Bitcoin, take it off an exchange, just giving them the basics here. Well, we have Brian Trolls here, and he goes, which on-ramps actually communicate to and warn users about the economics of UTXO management? And Jan from Swan gave a good post, and I'm going to read his post because I think he's doing a great job about it. And he says, over at Swan, we do our best to educate our customer base. And so here we are, we're over on the facts. And he goes, what is the largest and smallest amount of Bitcoin I can withdraw from Swan? Of course, there is no tried and true, science to this. It is kind of a personal choice. And I even had Higher calling in the beginning of the show go, so like, what do I want to do with my UTXOs? Just have as few as possible. And again, I think it depends on what you want to do. I'll give you kind of what I think about this. Anyways, I got a highlighted portion here and goes, look, Bitcoin costs more to spend when more small chunks, aka UTXOs, must be combined in a single transaction. For example, it will cost more to spend 0.1 10 million sats that you received as 10 separate million sat withdrawals than it does to spend 1 10 million sat UTXO that you received as a single withdrawal transaction. Think of it like handing someone $100 bills versus handing them the same amount as 10,000 panties. Bitcoin transaction fees are proportional to the weight of the transaction, or roughly the count of the different chunks, rather than the amount you're sending. Thus, keeping your Bitcoin in larger chunks may be beneficial to your future ability to spend it. As Bitcoin fees are predicted to rise in the future, it is to your advantage to avoid small chunks of Bitcoin that could turn into unspendable Bitcoin dust. And again, I'm over here on Bitcoin.stack exchange to kind of, you guys could go look this stuff up, but I'm giving you guys the overview. So like, what is dust? The note dust is a colloquial term used to refer to any UTXOs of vanishingly low value and for UTXOs that are uneconomical to create or spend at the current fee rate. Usually, dust is kind of like this name here with PKH transaction 546 sats. So again, guys, if you're sending 500 sats on chain, you shouldn't be doing this. This is going to wreck yourself. Go into higher, Lightning networks. But as the fees begin to rise, as Beautyon showed us, maybe your $20, $40 UTXO may be considered dust. And this is going to happen moving forward. We know that this is how Bitcoin works. So just protect yourself today. And look, I'm over here on mempool.space. Guys, if you don't use mempool.space, you technically don't have to. Most wallets today, most HD wallets today will give you pretty decent fee estimations. Again, you can be like the OG Bitcoiners out there and just wait for your 1 sat, 2 sat, 3 sat, 5 sat transaction to get through. But as you can see, they're getting crazy on the blockchain right now. The no priority, literally, if you don't send a 40 sat per fee transaction right now, it's not even going to get into anyone's mempool. So what? $2 is still cheaper than using Western Union. It's probably still cheaper than using like your credit card transaction at a store, but you can see, look, 159 sats, almost $10. Of course, that's still cheaper by most metrics, but over the weekend we saw, I think it was like 600 sat fees. Like it's getting crazy. They're bloating the blockchain as far as I'm concerned. They're knocking off, all the uneconomical, rather all the pleb stackers out there that don't have this much money, that are just trying to save their life savings. Anyways, just to show you guys, you can check in here. You can see who's mined these pools. You can see what's going on in the blockchain. It looks like there's some big transactions in here. Go to mempool.space, check this stuff out, and you'll see what's going on. You can see, to get into the last block, roughly 150 sats per byte. Again, it got pretty crazy over the weekend. But what's this mean for you guys? Okay, did Nico? Oh, Nico popped off on me. Nice. Okay. What's this mean for you guys? As Higher Calling was saying, does this mean that you want just a bunch or as little as UTXO as possible? I would technically say yes, but also understand what you want to do with your Bitcoin. So I'm going to just use this for some basic math, guys. If you have 1 Bitcoin, aka 100 million sats, what would you want to do? There is some privacy concerns if you're going to transact. So like personally, I'd probably do like a 50 million, like 220 million UTXOs, and maybe like a 10 million UTXO that you're going to use to transact with. It's because if you have 100 million UTXO, yes, your fees are going to be less, but if you're going to transact with it, you might be exposing your whole holdings, and you don't want to do that. So there's things to consider. But one of my friends said basically, like, if you're going to hold your Bitcoin for long term, I would recommend probably at the very minimum 10 million sat UTXOs, 0.1 BTC. It seems to be kind of like a good common idea of what your UTXO size should be for the long term. And I know that this could be a concern for people out there that are just, yes, I am talking about coin control, guys. FYI, yes, Foundation does. If you go back to the interview we just did with Q&A, I think it was Friday, Envoy just released coin control. Coin control is a feature for most wallets have coin control. Some wallets don't. But anyways, guys, all you have to do to consolidate UTXOs, look, the network, I think, will clear out. Let's go back here in the beginning. You can see right now, it'll, if you have a lot of Bitcoin, $7 to consolidate some UTXOs moving forward, it might be the cost that you want to pay. But if you want to wait, I think it's going to clear out. But consolidate your UTXOs. And what I mean is just, send a certain size transaction. It'll consolidate your old UTXOs. But if you're consolidating, say, I forget what the upper limit is of transaction outputs that you can put into one transaction, it's going to cost you a lot to consolidate. So maybe do this in chunks. Maybe do this when the mempools are starting to clear out. Maybe do this when the inscribers aren't abusing the blockchain. Let me see. Let me see what's going on over here in the chat. Yeah, Samuel Adams says, 0.01, 0.05, 0.1. Yeah, look, I even have this tweet here by Jan. Again, let's pull this one up and you'll see what they're saying. Like, here's Swan's UX. Again, a lot of this is arbitrary and you're just going to have to make up your mind for yourself. I don't know what your funds are, but these are just kind of ideas to give you because, look, we know that this is going to happen in the future. So once this kind of clears out a little bit, make sure you are consolidating your UTXOs. I've been telling you guys this for months. I didn't think that the blockchain, the mempools were going to get this clogged up, but hey, here we are. And I just want you guys to protect yourself because in the future, who knows how high fees can get. And if you have, I don't know, a bunch of $100 UTXO transactions in fiat terms, there may be a time when those are unspendable. So consolidate them. And it's hard to really tell you what to do because I don't want to tell you to leave your Bitcoin on an exchange, but there should be a certain threshold before you're withdrawing off an exchange. And you can see Jan here. He goes, look, an example of Swan's UX around this. We try to educate the user in line with the withdrawal. We've had this feature for a few years now, preparing for high fee environment. We will continue to invest in the UX of withdrawals to educate clients and other sensible defaults so that people don't shoot themselves in the foot. This is what it's all about, a PSA so you don't shoot yourself in the foot moving forward because we're trying to figure out a way to onboard the masses as easy as possible without them hurting themselves. Maybe that means going straight into Lightning layer 2. Maybe it's kind of what Bitcoiners have been saying for years now, that on-chain is for the real high net worth individuals, the institutions, the big whales. Maybe all of us Bitcoiners, all of us average people will just transact on the layers above. But you can see here, when do you want your Bitcoin? Withdrawing your Bitcoin once it reaches a threshold reduces future fees and improves your privacy. And you can see here, weekly, 0 BTC, 0.01, 0.025, 0.05. You're going to have to adjust these thresholds for yourself. Personally, I like kind of the meme metrics of 10 million sats, 20 million, 50 million. If you're a big whale out there and you can hold one Bitcoin, 100 million sats, UTXOs, not only does it make the Glassnode metrics go up, but it feels good, I'd suppose. So I think the point here, guys, is fees are going to get crazy. And let me show you this one more time. We know this is going to happen. This is how Bitcoin works. But I think right now we're seeing some artificial attacks on Bitcoin. I'm not saying my friends out there that are ordinalers are attacking Bitcoin. I think they do think there's something cool going on with the technology. But there seems to be an active attack by BitBlockers using art, to have fun on the network. And hey, we're all paying for it. And, it's really unfortunate that, and I hate using this word, but like the first worlders out here, us with what do they call it, the financial privilege, are abusing the network. So, it doesn't really matter if you're just hodling your Bitcoin long term. If you don't have to transact on the network, hopefully you already have your UTXO hygiene in line. But if you're like the other Bitcoiners that need to survive on the network, you're going to be paying some exorbitant fees right now just to survive. And that's because people are having fun on the network. And now, how do we explain this to a normie? It's going to be damn near impossible, guys. So maybe get them on Lightning. Maybe just get them directly to download a Phoenix wallet. I know there will be a atomic swap transaction fee that you're going to have to explain, but this is the game where we are right now. I think this will clear out, but as you can see, this will happen over and over and over again. So hopefully we clear this out and we get a steady incline of adoption of people wanting block space. But as Bob Burnett's been saying lately, guys, block space is a commodity. It is becoming more and more expensive. And as more and more people join Bitcoin, it will continue to rise. It will continue to become expensive. So just be aware of this. And, for better or worse, let's try to communicate this message to our normies out there, because we don't want them to get wrecked. I don't want to scare people off with all the technicalities of Bitcoin. We do our best to try to not scare people off. But there is a certain level of education that needs to happen. And yeah, Samuel Adams hit the nail on the head. 0.05 and 0.1 is like a $500 bill and $1,000 bill, chunks of value. This is all we're saying. Breakdown, on another little story. My grandfather, for better or worse, when you have dollar bills in your wallet, I grew up with the same kind of memetics as my grandfather. I would put them in a line. So like, $1 bill, then a $5 bill, then a 10, 20, 100. And I would always kind of organize them in my wallet so they sit correctly, so I know what's going on, so I know how much money I actually have in my wallet quickly. Well, that's kind of how you should think of this. UTXO management, UTXO hygiene is just kind of the same thing. Yes, there's some different technicalities. Yes, there's a a new paradigm shift that you're going to have to get over once you're on the Bitcoin standard. But just consolidate and organize your money every once in a while. And if you're just hodling long term, you don't have to do this right now. You just let this madness pass. But if you are like the other Bitcoiners that are transaction and surviving on the network, you might want to reconsolidate your transactions. If you're a DCAer out there and you're withdrawing your 10, 15, 20, $50 a week into a wallet and you haven't consolidated your UTXOs, you may be in for a surprise when you try to transact, and the fees are going to get crazy. So make sure you're checking mempool.space. Make sure you consolidate your UTXOs once it comes back down. I'm convinced it's going to come back down again. And let me see some notes here, guys. Again, the solutions is your UTXO size. Make sure you're breaking up your Bitcoin into the chunks of value that you want. Do you want big bills? Do you want tiny bills to spend every single day? If you want big bills, that means you're storing long term. If you have tiny UTXOs, that means you're going to be spending it. And you don't really care about the outputs and the inputs of your spending money, because you're like, hey, I'm going to spend it this week anyways. So it doesn't really matter. And then, of course, guys, we've been telling you all year, maybe you wanted to open up some Lightning channels. Maybe once it cools back down, you download Phoenix Wallet and you send, I don't know, a 10 million UTXO, 10 million sat UTXO into your Lightning wallet, open up a Lightning wallet, and then you're able to transact how you want to. This is the user experience that is currently going to get fixed. People are working on it. They've been working on it all year. So I don't think this is anything to be afraid of, but we're seeing that there is an attack on Bitcoin right now, and they're using our rules against us. They're not breaking the rules. Somehow they have all this money to spend on, dick butts on the blockchain and this, what they call art, and they're having fun and all this, whatever. But just be aware of this, I think, is what we're talking about. And I saw Elaine earlier say, like, where are the fees? Usually your wallet will show you what the fees are, but I really enjoy mempool.space. You can check it here. Let me show you again how to get here, guys. So look, go to mempool.space. Here's the homepage. Click chart. You can see historically what's going on with the fees. You can see where we are historically on the time chain. So you can see the fees are getting high because of what I would say is this artificial demand for ordinals and pictures and NFTs on the blockchain. To me, it's whatever. You know my thoughts on this. I'm a monetary maximalist. I want people to transact on Bitcoin, people to save and store their wealth on Bitcoin. But who am I? I'm just a guy. You can see, look, the transaction, the fee per byte is going down. But right now it's $10 for a high priority. To get into the next block, it will cost $10. Still relatively cheap if you're considering sending, millions of dollars. But for us, maybe, the big blockers out here that are running around and feeling like they're winning the race. If you want to buy your coffee, it might get very expensive. Just be aware of this. Use mempool.space for your calculations, for your fee estimations. And once you see the mempool start to clear out, guys, I highly recommend you consolidate your UTXOs. I think at a certain point in time, is it now? Probably not. The fees will stay really high. And that just means there's so much capital moving through the Bitcoin network that we're going to have to move up on layers on top of it. And this is just the name of the game. So let me get over some of these comments real quick, and then I'm going to roll this one out. Yeah, look, this is a good one. Hard hodl, just stop touching your cold storage so often and you're fine. If your Bitcoin's in cold storage, you don't have to worry about this. So yeah, Phil C, again, doubling down on what I say. That's exactly what's going on. Those with financial privilege are driving up the cost on everyone out of spite. They're having fun, man. I'll leave it there. Okay, let's see. Son of Satoshi's. I have no issues with them doing the regarded thing. That is more. I kind of beg to differ. I think this is artificial adoption, but we know this is going to happen. So prepare accordingly today. Let's see. Rave Elevator, when fully first layer redeemable paper Bitcoin for fast Peters transaction. Sorry, bro. I don't know what's going on there. All right, let's see. Last one, and then I'll roll this one out. BTC Session does a fee management tutorial and save myself some fees with lightning swaps, liquid swaps, etc. Yeah, man, highly recommend you guys check out Sessions' channel, BTC Sessions on YouTube. He's got great tutorials. He will show you this from front to finish. I'm just kind of giving you guys an a big wide lens view on what's going on, but he will show you the nitty gritty. Yeah, guys, downloading wallets with good coin control is highly recommended. There will be easier options moving forward. I think a lot of wallets are looking at this. A lot of developers are wondering how to solve this, quote unquote. For you guys out there, man, just wait till the mempools clear up a little bit. Consolidate some UTXOs, put some big chunks of UTXO transactions that you're not going to touch moving forward. Maybe throw some spending money into a Lightning wallet. Again, there's so many different trade-offs here, and I'm just trying to give you guys the high-level view of what's going on. TLDR, it does seem like there is, I don't know where the money's coming from, but they're flooding the chain with inscriptions and dick butts and pictures, and it's all the rage. I don't see the value in owning a JPEG personally. Right-click save. I don't know. I'm not here to get into the politics of all this. All I'm trying to do is to show you what you should be doing, what you should be watching out for, and how do we explain this to our normies out there, guys. So no need to get all crazy in a mental spiral spin off of this. Just let it cool down. Consolidate UTXOs. Think about opening some Lightning channels. Get some Bitcoin into Lightning. Onboard your friends into Lightning. I think this is probably the best way to do this. Let's see. Yeah, most of you guys should be unaffected if you're using most of the stuff we've been recommending all year and you're actively doing it. But if you have been sleeping and you didn't think about consolidating your UTXOs because you had time, I think we all kind of had this idea. Do it next time, guys. Maybe do it now. Maybe bite the bullet, depending on what your scenario is. Anyways, guys, we love you. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. We will be back for the end of the week. So as we told you, this is going to be a break for us next week. We're going to be gone for Christmas break. We will be dropping clips. We will be dropping shorts, but we are not going to be doing the live show. So the live show will come back at the beginning of January. So this is the last four Simply Bitcoin episodes of the year. We're going to give you guys the best content possible. Like, share, subscribe. We're here for you guys. Hey, you guys know my Twitter. I might have shut off my DMs. I forget now. I was getting all kinds of crazy spam comments, but hit me up. Let me know what you guys want to talk about. I will do my best to cover this. Toxic Sophie, me and you have been talking about some stuff, so let's work on some of that stuff. And guys, I just want to make sure you have the best practices moving forward. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible so we can explain this to everyone, but spread all the Bitcoin content. We're here for you guys. We want to provide as much value as possible. We want to make sure your head's on straight. We're going to cover the news, culture, memes, all that stuff. The memes will come back on Friday, but look at this. We only did 3 sections. We're already an hour and 20 minutes. As you can tell, the show's going longer. We're maturing a little bit. We're rebranding a little bit, but we love you long time. We appreciate you. We will see you tomorrow. And on that note, guys, get outside, get your body moving, eat some good food, and hang out with your friends and family over the holiday breaks. Peace out, guys. We love you.